Hello to all the BDR academics, to all the future BDR academics. It's still Dan, and today we'll start posting on LinkedIn. So there are quite a few formats of LinkedIn posts for you to try, but I highly recommend you to start with the format that's called like learning out loud. If you remember my free webinars that I conducted before the launch of the course, I mentioned about this technique, and I believe this is a go-to content strategy for any young BDR. So, in the nutshell, what are we talking about? You see, mm, if you and I believe a lot of you are into psychology, so you read books, you listen to podcasts, watch some YouTube videos, and you know about this thing called an imposter syndrome. Okay, so a lot of professionals, especially young professionals, they think that, oh, I'm fake. I can't pretend I'm an expert because everybody will think that I'm a fake. And frankly, not all imposter syndromes are bad, because from my experience, it's not a great idea to position yourself as an expert if you are not one. But speaking about LinkedIn and speaking about your social network presence, so this imposter syndrome, it also has the form of, oh, I can't afford to write anything because I'm not an expert in, let's say, in a tech space, in martech space, in retail in retail media space, what have you. And thus, I'll just, comment or like or share some pictures with my dog because I don't think confident. I don't feel myself confident enough in order to in order to post something, because everybody will stare at me and say, "Oh, this is an imposter. You're not a real expert, so we're gonna unsubscribe from you." And here, as you may remember, our main purpose is to engage with the potential employers on the U.S. market. And yeah, here is a nut to crack. So here is the decision to make: how we will proceed with our LinkedIn strategy, because we need to post something. We need to be visible on LinkedIn, and at the same time, it's like kind of silly to just copy and paste some articles from HubSpot and pretend that, oh, that's I created it, or to actually it's also the thing that I see very very often. Kind of, yeah, let's take this article and redo it in ChatGPT. Like, ChatGPT, please rewrite this article in in plain English, and so on. And then you just and you post it on LinkedIn, and to make everybody think that you're an expert first. The stuff that's written with ChatGPT doesn't really work on LinkedIn, believe me. And number one, if the person who is reading it is like a professional, if you're not trying to impress, I don't know, your parents-in-law or your classmates or your university peers, if you want to impress like a real pro, don't need to you don't need to pretend that you're like smarter and more experienced than you really are. What you need to show to your potential employer, speaking about our content strategy, yeah, when like all your LinkedIn activity has one purpose and one purpose only: to uh, engage the companies that will be your future employers, and then use the same skill set to engage the companies that you will be working with as a BDR, that you will generate meetings from. So the approach that really works is called recapping. So you remember our first lesson. I asked you to create this Notion database with some materials that you will study during your journey as a BDR, and I asked you to make some recaps, to make some notes, to to capture some bullet points from the podcast or from the articles that you read. And I urge you to continue doing the same thing, but not for yourself, but for everybody on LinkedIn. So here is the strategy that is almost guaranteed to give you your first engaged connections in the industry that you're going to target. So here is my take on this. This is my typical recap post, and you see it's not like very popular. So here is like 3,000 impressions. In other, there is like a bit more, a bit less. So it's not like a super viral post, but we don't need it to be viral. We really don't. What we do want, though, is the engagement from very particular people. So here's how it works. We create a summary of a content piece. Let's say this is an interview about EdTech. Just, the first thing that comes in mind. Yeah, there is this EdTech podcast. I don't know if any of you is subscribed to it. And there is this conversation between the host and Mrs. Nina Hunterman. I don't know who she is, but seems that she's like some authority in the edtech space. And what I want you to do is, once again, I don't ask you to create a summary of this particular podcast. There is a podcast, there is a video, there is an article, and what you need to do is to write something like, here is today I stumbled upon a brilliant webinar by, and then you tag the person. So to tag somebody on LinkedIn, you just write at, and then let's like create a new post. I'm not going to publish it, but just for you to understand. So you create a post and you write something like great webinar by, and then we at, and then we select, I don't know, let's say Lady Solis on here are some super valuable takeaways. And then, and this is super important, this is super crucial, do not use ChatGPT for those kind of posts. Yeah, if the audience that's reading you, if it's not English native, for example, if you're selling to MENA or so, to the countries where English is not the main language, is not the mother tongue, ChatGPT may be fine. But for the people who live in US, who live in UK, they will instantly understand that it's a robot generated. And the whole purpose is to show that you're a human. So yeah, the text may not be ideal. It may not be like Grammarly, but although I encourage you to use tools like Grammarly or at least Google Docs to like take care of your grammar. But even if the sentences are not flawless, it's still better than ChatGPT because it shows that you're a human. So what you need to do, so you can take some of my posts that can be found as Dan's recaps. So you can just insert this hashtag Dan's recaps, and you take any of my post and take something and make something similar. I don't ask you to like copy and paste my intros, but do something similar. Okay. So great conversation by John and a great conversation by John and Dan, and it's super important to tag the people that you're referring to, okay? Because that this way they will see the notification in their LinkedIn account, and like 9 out of 10 times they will like or comment and say, "Oh, who's Ref?" or I don't know, John, Sarah, like. Just thank you, like, that's very kind of you, that's a great recap, like, thank you very much. Oh, maybe, this is even better, I can't draw, but if for some reason you can, or you can make like some diagram, but it's better for you to make it like in your handwriting. If you're good in those things, for example, you can draw, and you draw like this diagram that highlights the key points of the webinar of a video, and you can like scan it or make a photo on your phone and attach it to the post, and it will be even better. So the purpose of the strategy is first start growing your network and start generating some content related, not like your dogs and cats and kids. It's all great. You can post this on like on a holiday or like on a weekend. It's totally fine. But 90% of your content should be professional, okay? And thus, you need to post something. Okay, we can't pretend that we're like super experienced BDRs. No, we're not. We're just learning. And we're showing everybody that we're learning. We're sharing some insights from the content pieces that we consumed. Okay, so first tag the people that created the content piece. You can do this in the beginning of the post, you can do this in the end, doesn't matter. Then have some interest. Oh, I stumbled upon this brilliant podcast by yada yada yada. Then some takeaways. Once again, no ChatGPT. Okay, just restate in your own words. You like the article, so I like the strategy of this and this. So also it's super important to understand the. I just there is what is a podcast about? It's about the cutting through the noise around AI for education. So I believe that the Nina's take on not overusing AI for this and this is like super important. Okay, so yeah, AI can do some things, but at the same time, like you don't need to solely rely on AI to take care of all the educational process. You still need to like manage it in the right way. So you just restate some of the thoughts, some of the ideas from this content piece in your own words. Once again, in your own words. Don't try to ChatGPT your way through this. No, just nobody needs this. Believe me, nobody needs. Do this in your own words and create this like a short summary. 4 or 5 ideas will be enough, and then you end this with something great podcasts. Things you can also not like can you must also mention the host, okay? And you write this post, and then you put the link to the podcast in the first comment. It's very important because LinkedIn as well as Facebook doesn't like when you post a link inside when you post the link inside the post. Sorry for that. Yeah, but I don't know how to put it in other words. So if there is some link, just put it in the first comment. So link to just look at my at the examples of my posts. A link to the full podcast or to the full webinar is in the first comment, and that's it. Okay, and you also can add some hashtag and then like EdTech, MarTech, I don't know, the industries that you want to work on. So here is the strategy. It may sound simple, but it really requires you to consume the content. And I believe that you didn't skip this task, didn't skip this assignment, and you were consuming the content since the beginning of the course. So you have like a library of summaries in your Notion. And right now, I want you to publish at least 3 content pieces. Don't do this in all day, just a day apart, like I don't know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, let's say. Okay, so publish 3 content pieces using this scheme. Tag the content creators. But remember that these content pieces, they should be related to the industry that you're working in. And after you post your content, be sure to add the people that you tagged, add them on LinkedIn with a follow-up note like, "Hey Nina, thanks for the great podcasts." Something like this. Okay, so don't try to sell, don't try to do anything, just, "Hey Nina, thanks for a great podcast, it was a blast." Something like this. Okay? That's your assignment. Seems Not hard, but you really need to put some effort into implementing what I've just recommended. And for reference, you can use my posts that follow the same strategy. That's all for today. Take care, and if you have any questions, as always, use our WhatsApp chat or send the questions via your private cabinet. Okay? Thank you so much. Take care, and looking forward to seeing your assignments.